What's up? It's Gareth, and welcome to today's lesson where we're going to be deep diving into this analogy of the factory and how you can place orders to bring things into your life. If you haven't completed the free program, the Lifestyle Designers Introduction course at livemoreperfectdays.com, today's lesson builds on that. So I'd encourage you to go back and create a free account there, go through the 7-day program, and day 4 is the introductory to the factory. For today, we're going to be deep diving. So if you've already been through that, let's start with today's lesson. All right, so today we're going to be taking a deep dive into how you place orders with the factory and the 3 reasons why the orders that you're placing are not being brought into your life. I'm going to do a very quick run through of what we'll cover today and the 3 reasons that orders are not being delivered into your life. We're going to teach you about your own built-in GPS and guidance system, and we're going to give you a method that you can use to help stay aligned with the orders that you've placed and wanting to bring into your life. As a quick recap from the introduction to the factory, in every single moment we're thinking thoughts that place an order with the factory for things that we want to bring into our life. The factory sets about manufacturing and getting these orders ready for delivery into our world. And once we've paid for those orders in full with the only acceptable currency, which is belief, the factory delivers those orders directly into your life. So what are the reasons that the orders that you've placed are not coming into your life? Once we unpack belief, we understand that it's a function of gratitude, patience, and progress. And we're going to unpack those in a little bit more detail. So why are the orders that you placed not coming into your world? Well, for many of us, while we're thinking about the things that we want to come into our life, we might also be sometimes unconsciously thinking about things that we don't want to come into our life. And the factory takes those thoughts as well and starts to process them as well, getting ready to deliver the very things that you don't want to come into your life. So the factory is, in a sense, sitting there with 2 lots of orders, the things that you wanted and the things that you don't want to come into your life. Which are the things that are going to be delivered? The things that you truly believe in. Those will be the orders that get delivered into your world. So the 3 reasons that people don't get the law of attraction to be able to work for them in their lives is, first of all, they don't believe, they're not grateful, and they're not patient. The first point is really the biggest and where we're going to spend most of today's lesson unpacking, and that's this idea of belief. So the number 1 reason is not believing, and that's broken down into a couple of areas. So many people don't even believe that the law of attraction exists, and for them, they go around with their world and their life completely unfolding around them unconsciously, completely unaware that they have the power to be able to control what comes into their life. We solve this problem really easily in our level 1 Lifestyle Designers Installation course by setting some really simple orders, placing simple things in our daily pre-game that when they start to show up in your life, you start to become aware that this law is working whether you believe in it or not. We're not going to spend too long on that. That's covered in level 1 program. But for today, the next 2 pieces are really where the rubber hits the road, where people don't believe often that they are worthy of the orders that they've placed, or they have some deep-seated beliefs that don't align with the order that they've placed. And that's really where we're going to spend a bit of time today. So to start off, the best thing to do would be to define what is a belief. And a belief is really just a thought that we've thought over and over again. And so as a way to show this in relation to the factory analogy, think about this idea that you've placed an order for something that you want to come into your life. You start to pay for this order with the belief that you want to come into your world, and suddenly something comes into your life and stops that order from being delivered. So what is stopping you from paying for the order that you've placed that you want to come into your world? Who is it that's blocking this payment? This who is you. It's your ego. And you may have heard this term before, and this is really your thinking mind that is in every single moment of the day, processing all of the information that it gets and developing specific strategies for you to be able to get through your day in order to make the decisions that you need based on the past stories that you carry. So how do we develop these strategies? How are they coming into our world? From the moment we were born and we could start to understand, we continually fed with information from our culture, from our religion, from our parents, from our mentors, and our mind goes about filing these particular strategies based on these particular stories, and we develop these stories based on everything that's coming into our world. So if you have a story around money that is starting your own business might be risky, or that money doesn't grow on trees, or that rich people screw other people to get to the top, and that becomes a thought that you think over and over again, that starts to become what you believe. You may at a later stage in your life be placing an order for financial abundance, but if you have a story or a belief that money doesn't grow on trees, you're not going to be aligned to be able to pay for this order that you're wanting to bring into your life. As a way to unpack stories and understand how they come into our world and play such an important role, I'd like you to think of this analogy of a ski hill that's got a fresh coat of snow on. This is like your mind, before it has a story or a strategy about something new, your brain has the ability to fire the synapses in any way that it's possible to get down to the bottom of this hill. Once you start to think a thought, your brain fires a specific pathway of neurons that it then uses as it goes forward and continually runs that particular path. And the analogy to use is, imagine skiing down that hill and it starts to carve a very small groove that gets you down a specific route to get to the bottom. And that's like the story that you're telling yourself. The more that you go down that hill, the more your brain starts to fire those pathways, the more that story becomes stronger, until eventually the only way for you to get down a specific hill is this very strong groove that you've created to get you down to the bottom of the hill. And it's a very strong story about whatever it is that you have a story about. And these become our beliefs. So if we think about it in the factory analogy, we've placed an order for financial abundance to come into our world. We've started to pay for our order. And the very story that we've got that runs so strong is that rich people screw other people to get to the top. And this becomes what we truly believe. And this is how we get the order that we don't want delivered into our world. So the best way for us to overcome these stories is really to get out of our head and into our body. What's the best way to overcome these stories is really to identify your currently held beliefs, to be able to accept and honor them, and to start to release them with love. There's a little bit of a fluffy alert coming here. This is what you're going to hear in almost every self-help book, and every transformational coach is going to tell you the same story. And fortunately or unfortunately, we're going to tell you the same thing here. And that's that for most of us, the path of least resistance is one of flow, where you get to develop a complete idea of self-love and self-acceptance. Because when you have self-love and self-acceptance, you then start to believe that you are worthy of all the things that you're ordering from the factory and want to bring into your life. So let's unpack this amazing guidance system that we have to help us get out of our heads and into our bodies. If you think about a speedometer in a car, and on the one side you've got maximum self-love, and on the other side you've got low self-love, how can we use the speedometer to be able to gauge where we are in every single moment to pay for the orders that we're wanting to bring into our life? Think about having max self-love as this idea of being able to show up with your A game. As you start to move away from self-love, you go towards more your C or your D game. And then when you've got low self-love, you can show up and you've got almost no game. So how do we use the speedometer to be able to see and to guide us in every single moment of every single day? When you've got the maximum amount of self-love on the left-hand side of the speedometer, your body is giving you feelings that let you know exactly where you are. So when you have high self-love, you start to feel emotions that are grateful, confident, fun, ease, flow. All of the positive emotions that you start to feel are associated with this idea of maximum self-love. When you start to move away and you start to get more into your head and more out of your body, you start to run stories of things that you may not believe in. You start to move out of your ease, uneasy, doubt. You start to feel frustrated. And you eventually get to a place when you start to move really far away, when your ego is running the show, where you start to feel anger, fear, resentment, and you're starting to feel low self-love, showing up with no game, and the orders that you don't want are the ones that are starting to come into your world. The beautiful part about this is really just this idea that in order for you to get to manifest and get the orders that you want showing up in your world, is to work on being the best version of yourself and work towards those feelings of flow and ease and maximum self-love. So reason number 2 that the orders that you've placed are not coming into your life is that you're not patient. If you truly believe that something that you've ordered is going to show up in your life, you'd be prepared to wait for it. The goal here is to trust and believe that your order is on its way. And if at any moment you start to feel impatient, or you want the order that you want to show up in your world, you start to move from those positive emotions of ease and flow and grace to like this idea of clutching and wanting things to come into your world. And you move out of your ease and more away from that idea of your maximum self-love. And the third and final reason that your orders are not showing up in your world is that people are not feeling these emotions of gratitude. And gratitude is really probably one of the highest emotions that you can feel on that speedometer that you can use, your guidance system. So what we do here is almost a reverse hack, where instead of being able to be grateful for something that you want to come into your life that hasn't yet come into your life, we reverse engineer it and start to create a feeling of gratitude, and then start to align those feelings of gratitude with the thing that you want to come into your life. As you get better and better at this process of being able to feel the things that you want to come into your life, you can start to get to a place where you can be grateful for the things that you want to come into your world even before they've arrived. And this is really the fuel that starts to really power up your orders and bring them into your world in a way that you can really bring the things that you want into your life even quicker. And this is the reason that we start our daily pre-game as well as our post-games with feelings of gratitude, because gratitude really is the magic source that allows your orders to flow into your life even quicker. Your thoughts become your beliefs become your words become your stories, and your stories become your actions. Actions become habits, and habits become values, and your values become your destiny. All right, that's it for today's lesson. I hope that you've enjoyed the process that we've been through here to unpack this idea of manifestation and how you can use this analogy of the factory and this internal guidance system that you have of your feelings to be able to pay for the orders that you want. It's really important to say at this stage that this idea of placing orders and them coming into your life really isn't a process of going after it and hustling and bringing the things that you want into your life. It really is more an idea of placing an order and being in your ease and getting out of your own way and starting to feel those positive feelings that will allow these things to flow into your life without you having to go out there and hunt for them. So for those of you that are working along in the level 2 program and have got your My Life iOS board, there is a card for today's lesson where I'd like you to take one of the orders that you're bringing into your life and to write down 10 things that you believe to be true right now about the order that you're bringing into your life. So if you've got an order placed for financial abundance and you want to bring money into your life, I want you to write down 10 currently held beliefs that you have about money. Not what you think you want them to be, but rather what you do currently believe about money. Write them down on the back of that card, and we'll see you in the next lesson. Ciao.